In a world ruled by brutal kings, where women were expected to stay silent, one name shattered the rules of the Viking Age. Her name was Lagertha, a farmer, a wife, a mother. But when war came, she became something else entirely. A warrior. Legend says she didn't just fight beside men, she led armies into battle. She rode into war with her hair braided like a queen, and her enemies left the battlefield in silence. Even the legendary Viking hero Ragnar Lothbrok, a man feared across Europe, once owed his victory to her. But here's the part history doesn't want you to know. The same woman who helped build a kingdom would one day destroy a king with her own hands. And what she did next was so shocking, it turned her from hero into something far more dangerous. Stay with me, because this is not just a story. This is the rise and the fall of the most feared Viking queen in history. Before we dive into the main story, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell notification button for more interesting video like this. To understand Lagertha, you have to understand the Vikings. The Viking Age, roughly from 793 AD to 1066 AD, was a time when Norse warriors from Scandinavia raided, traded, and conquered across Europe. But this wasn't just a world of men. In rare and powerful cases, women fought too. They were called shield maidens. And according to the 12th century historian Saxo Grammaticus, Lagertha was the most extraordinary of them all. Lagertha's story begins in Norway, during a brutal invasion led by a Swedish king. According to legend, women were humiliated, captured, and abused. But some refused to submit. Lagertha was one of them. Instead of surrendering, she picked up a sword. She disguised herself as a warrior, joined the resistance, and fought with such ferocity that even seasoned fighters were stunned. This was not just survival. This was transformation. Enter Ragnar Lothbrok, a rising Viking leader determined to reclaim honor and power. But Ragnar faced a problem. His army was outmatched. Lagertha appeared. Leading a group of shield maidens, she charged into battle like a storm. Saxo Grammaticus wrote that she fought with unmatched courage, turning the tide of the entire war. Ragnar didn't just win that day, he survived because of her. And from that moment on, he could never forget her. Ragnar fell in love. But Lagertha wasn't a woman you simply married. She was a warrior, a queen, a force of nature. Legend says that when Ragnar came to propose, he was met with something terrifying. A bear and a giant dog guarded her home. It wasn't a welcome. It was a test. Ragnar killed them both, proving he was worthy. And so, they married. Together, they ruled not just as king and queen, but as equals in power and war. But power changes people. Ragnar's ambition grew, and eventually, he made a choice that would change everything. He left Lagertha for another woman, a princess, a political alliance. To Ragnar, it was strategy. To Lagertha, it was betrayal. But she didn't beg. She didn't break. She walked away. And that's when her story truly begins. Lagertha returned to her lands, but she was no longer just a warrior. She became a ruler, a queen in her own right. She built power, gathered allies, and proved something that terrified the Viking world. She didn't need Ragnar. She was stronger alone. Then came the moment that turned her legend into myth. Lagertha remarried, but her new husband was cruel, a tyrant, a man who believed he could control her. He was wrong. One night, while he slept, Lagertha took a spear and drove it through his body, ending his life, and claiming power, not as a wife, but as a queen. By now, Lagertha was no longer just a person. She was a symbol, a woman who defied kings, who survived betrayal, who killed for power and ruled without fear. Stories of her spread across Scandinavia. Some called her a hero, others called her dangerous. But no one could ignore her. Here's where things get interesting. Was Lagertha real? Historians debate this to this day. Most of what we know comes from Saxo Grammaticus, writing hundreds of years after her supposed life. There's no solid archaeological proof she existed. But that doesn't mean she wasn't real. Because in Viking culture, stories weren't just facts. They were truth wrapped in legend. And Lagertha's story carries something powerful. The idea that even in the harshest world, a woman could rise and become unstoppable. Today, Lagertha lives on in modern culture, especially in the hit TV show Vikings, where she's portrayed as a fierce and complex warrior queen. But beyond entertainment, her story represents something deeper. Strength, independence, defiance. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't gentle. She was something far more rare. Unbreakable. But here's the part that should make you question everything. If Lagertha was just a legend, why did her story survive for over 800 years? Why did historians write about her as if she truly existed? And why, in a world that erased so many women, was her name never forgotten? Maybe, just maybe, Lagertha wasn't just a story. Maybe she was a warning that even in the Age of Kings, there was a queen they could never control. For more videos like this, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.